Hi, and thank you for viewing this. It's part of a project I completed for my Doctor of Nursing practice degree. And with this project, I explored how social justice is covered within the ANA Code of Ethics as compared to other nations' codes. And I'll touch on my findings a bit, but this presentation is meant to provide a more general overview of social justice in nursing. I believe the nursing profession has a challenge to look at our educational curricula and our practice environments and determine if social justice is adequately addressed. So as I say, I reviewed and compared the nursing codes of ethics regarding their social justice content from the US, Canada, and Australia. And I focused on codes of ethics because they're foundational guiding documents for the profession. As the ANA states here, they express the obligations and values by the profession to society. And in my review, I found that the American Code had much less social justice content when compared to Australia and Canada. And this may be a reflection of the importance we give to social justice in our nursing curricula and nursing practice, or it might be a cue for us to evaluate how we conceptualize and integrate it in our didactic and clinical teaching. First, a bit of background around social justice components and their place in nursing. There's no one definition for social justice. The first use of the term is usually attributed to a Jesuit priest in the 1800s, and since then the definition has evolved. The philosopher John Rawls discussed social justice with a focus on fairness in the distribution of material resources, and since then other influential philosophers have elaborated on Rawls' description. In Iris Marion Young's definition, she includes societal systems in place that contribute to oppression and inequality. An example would be marginalization of the aged or of racial minorities. So social justice is about the distribution of societal benefits, such as education, inequality of income, and equality of opportunity. In nursing, social justice incorporates many concepts that may be included in curricula. The concepts of health inequities and social determinants form the focus of social justice in health. And as a review, health inequities are differences in health among people that arise most often from the context of people's lives, their income and education, their race, their exposure to violence are a few examples, and these socially determined factors can negatively impact health. A simple example we're all aware of is the child raised in a single-parent household below the poverty line. The parent raising this child struggles to make ends meet and experiences stress and challenge in supporting her household. She's more likely to struggle with health issues, as is the child, and because of this, her child's ability to thrive is hampered. The child's less likely to succeed in school, and down the road, less likely to obtain employment that offers stability, and so the cycle continues. And in this way, social injustices undergird health disparities. These are some examples of social justice connections from the patient or the nurse's perspective that can cause or perpetuate problems in health. These may be unnoticed or unacknowledged or under-acknowledged, and because of this, they can contribute greatly to the ill health of an individual. It's helpful to ask how nursing interfaces with social justice and examine how it is addressed by professional nursing leaders and foundational organizations. Here in the U.S., examples of these include the AACN, the NLN, and the American Nurses Association. And these organizations express the importance of social justice as it relates to nursing practice. So the question is, how important is social justice in nursing? And of course, I'm arguing it is very important. The AACN states the value of social justice is significant because it addresses health disparities. And the NLN addresses it in its public policy goals. And social justice is at the core of professional nursing practice. The nursing profession was created by nurses who focused on the poor and their healthcare needs, work in support for labor rights, child labor laws, the women's suffrage movement, all of these obviously being social justice issues. Historical examples of these founders include the work of Lillian Wald, who became an activist for the rights of women and minorities. She campaigned for suffrage and racial integration, and she established nursing services for the poor of New York City. And Florence Nightingale might be best known for her work with wounded soldiers in the Crimean War, but she also advocated extensively for improved health care for the poor and marginalized. She called for equal health care for those who lived in workhouses, places of last resort in Britain for people without means. She's known for her advocating for better hunger relief in India, helping to abolish laws regulating prostitution that were overly harsh to women, and expanding the acceptable forms of female participation in the workforce. And Nurse Lavinia Dock was a feminist and an author of nursing articles, a pioneer in nursing education, and a social activist. So in patient care, nursing interfaces with social justice, and I believe it does so across all specialties. And once awareness of social justice is enhanced, more and more examples become evident. A common example of social justice awareness and action in clinical practice is the nurse who routinely asks if a patient can afford his medicines, and the practitioner who prescribes the least expensive medicine that will work. In educational curricula, it's difficult to pin down examples of social justice teaching, most likely because it's sprinkled throughout the curriculum of both undergraduate and graduate programs. The point, though, should be to look into the curriculum to see how the topic's being addressed, and it's important to look at examples of how it's reinforced in student clinical experiences. My analysis of the codes of ethics revealed that the American document lacks a robust explication of social justice and the associated concepts of health inequity and social determinants when compared to Canada and Australia. For example, the Canadian document has 7 primary values and ethical responsibilities that correspond to each value, and a second part of the code describes endeavors nurses may undertake to address social inequities as part of an ethical practice. And these quotes are taken directly from the Canadian Code. You can see the code speaks directly to issues of human rights, equity, and societal structures that maintain injustice. The Australian Nursing Code of Ethics similarly has clear language regarding social justice. It has 8 value statements, and social justice is referenced in 4 of these. And nurses are explicitly directed to consider vulnerable populations and reduce power imbalances and prejudicial attitudes while delivering just and humane care. In the U.S., the ANA Code of Ethics has 9 provisions, and each provision has an interpretive statement providing greater specificity for practice, but social justice is only explicitly mentioned once in the preface of the code, as you can see here. Through this comparison to similar nations, I believe it's evident that the ANA Code could be more explicit in its social justice content by recognizing and naming the reasons for injustices in health, addressing root causes, and providing clarity about necessary nursing actions in order to effect change. It may not be possible to answer the questions the ANA Code of Ethics document a measure of our focus on social justice, but it is important to question how and where we are teaching social justice to nurses. The importance of social justice and the related concepts are critical to address if we desire nurses who stand firmly on the foundation that makes the nursing profession unique. That foundation provides a holistic view of care. So I leave you with these questions for discussion and reflection as you examine your own curriculum goals, where is social justice content and related concepts most obviously taught, and where might it be integrated further? Are concepts translated into action clinically, and where is this evidenced, and how might curricula be designed to improve social justice content so it is translated into action? I thank you for your time in viewing this presentation.